Smile.
I don't think they can see us. No. Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Got 14.
Good. I think we were expecting about 23, but some may be a little late. So I think perhaps do you want to get started, Gabriel?
It's up to you, Helen.
Okay, well, I think we'll start and hopefully we can admit any others as they come along. So it's my pleasure today to welcome you. Thank you for being able to be here at short notice. And it's my pleasure to introduce Gabriel Thurston and her team, not that she probably needs much introduction. I don't know whether the rest of you have experienced this with drama teachers in school, but when your students say, oh, the drama teacher says that speech and drama is different to normal drama. And I thought, well, it would be really good to have that one answered. And Gabriel, as a long-time teacher of school, NCEA drama and speech and drama, seemed the ideal person to do that. And also just to fill us in on some of the things that are perhaps used a little bit more in NCEA drama, such as statements of intention, reflective discussion. So Gabriel, over to you, and thrilled to have you. And just a reminder, if you could turn off your microphones, just so that we don't get any other background noise interrupting. So welcome, Gabriel and team.
Thank you, Helen. I have a team, as you can see, with me today, which I'm going to introduce. And we are going to fulfill the briefing that Helen just spoke about. But we are open to questions and to other things that you have that you may want from any of the team. So I'll introduce the team first. And to my right is Candy or Candace Stevenson, who is also a drama teacher here at John Paul College. Now, the reason that I've got Candy with me is because she is not only an experienced drama teacher, but she came up through the Speech New Zealand ranks as a young person and as a teacher, and to a teaching position. And she is an ex-student of mine, and I had the great privilege of being on the interview panel and employing her at John Paul College. So the other day I was talking to Candy, and I realized that because Candy teaches all the junior students, she had quite a bit to say on this subject, and it was very useful. So you'll hear from her soon. But I'll start with Adam. Now, Adam is our head boy here at John Paul College. He is doing NCA Drama Year 13, Level 3, and he is also doing scholarship drama, and he is also doing finishing his last ASB module. So these are wonderful students. They're just gorgeous. You're going to love them today, and I'm just delighted to share them with you. We've been at work all day with scholarship today, so this was the perfect time for me to actually talk to you. And we were going to peak the material that I'm going to get them to do today, but we didn't get that far. We got to improvisations, actually, for scholarships, but they're great anyway, and we will peak. We've got several weeks yet. Now, to my left is Orla Walsh, and Orla is the head girl here at John Paul, and she did year 12 curriculum drama, and probably any other year's curriculum?
I think I was year 9 and 10 as well.
Year 9 and 10, and she also is sitting scholarship drama this year. She did sit it last year and she achieved it, but she wants to get a whole row of scholarships this year, so she's doing it again. She's also doing her last module, ASB. So then on my right, I have Mitchell, and Mitchell has been right through curriculum drama and has been right through Speech New Zealand, and is also doing his last module for ASB, and this is last year with me. He's my drama captain, and he's just come back from Dunedin, where he's been with the Shakespeare team for the week and has had a wonderful week. So we've been catching up on that news and the excitement of being with like-minded people. And on my far right is Mia Page, and Mia is year 12. She's doing, she's gone right through curriculum drama and right through Speech New Zealand. She is finishing her last module, grade 8. And she is also doing scholarship too this year, which is wonderful. So that's my team. And what I'm planning on doing is letting Candy speak, then I'll speak a little bit about NCA and the differences. Then I'm going to get them each to perform, and I'm going to question them, maybe as an examiner, on their intentions, their elements they've used, techniques or conventions, or what they might like to share about why or what they're doing with those particular pieces. So don't judge us, we're still peaking there, and these are wonderful students who were just thrilled to share with you, actually. So first of all, I'll hand over to you, Candy.
Thank you, Gabrielle. So Gabrielle was just speaking to me a little bit about this the other day, just casually, and I obviously had a lot to say because she's roped me into this, which I'm delighted to share my views, only because going through speech and drama as a student, I know now on the other side as a teacher why sometimes my speech and drama students are excelling faster and peaking a little bit sooner than what my curriculum students are. And just by just bouncing some ideas off Gabrielle, I really feel like the knowledge that students learn when they're doing their private speech and drama, it goes much more into detail, and because they are smaller classes, as a curriculum junior teacher, I can't possibly get that much in-depth knowledge into my students in the amount of time that I've got, because I think at my biggest class, I had 32 year 8 students in my class. And if you imagine 32 year 8 students, I can't possibly go into the detail with each of them. We get time to basically branch the techniques, and so they get a little taster of the voice, body, movement, space. However, with my students that had been doing private speech and drama through Speech Board New Zealand, they knew as soon as I said techniques, they knew that when I was talking about voice, it was their pitch, pace, pause. They could really distinguish and pull apart that more in-depth knowledge that because I've only got my junior classes, sometimes my year 7 and 8, we only do a 10-week rotation with them. So it's really, really just a taster course. And then in year 9, when they choose my subject, I get them for 2 terms. So 2 terms is a good amount of time. However, again, I've sometimes got 30 in the class for that. So we do cover improvisation, scripted drama, so they get to learn a script, and we also do a little bit of devising in that as well under Greek theatre. But with the speech and drama aspect that students are getting if they're doing private lessons as well, is that they are really getting that specialised knowledge of, they know how their production of breath is going. I don't need to really start with the absolute basics with the students that are doing the Speech Board New Zealand curriculum. They've already looked at that from way back in initial. They've been dealing with all of those topics and all of that vocabulary at that stage, so that when they're coming to me, yes, we are working with similar things, but I think they've really got that backbone of knowledge to fall back on. So therefore, they're coming to me in year 9 and 10, and they're really excelling, which then feeds into those senior classes where they're starting to pick apart and having to really write and describe, what are you doing? What is your intention? Why have you chosen to portray your character in this way? Why did you decide to lower your tone? And I find that the students that have gone through speech and drama, they can say to me, oh, I've lowered my tone because I'm portraying an older man, and they can really pull apart why they're doing something like that. Whereas I think for curriculum drama, yes, we absolutely deal with that, and they're doing roll on the walls and hot seating, and we get to all of those activities. But I think the time restriction is what is sometimes the factor in that they do 2 terms with me in year 9, they do 2 terms with me in year 10, and then they're competing with students in year 11, 12, 13 that have been doing this for so long, so long. So for me as a junior curriculum teacher, having seen the opposite side of it as well with the speech board, whenever I get parents come to me at parent-teacher interviews, they say, oh, little Jimmy has been doing drama with Gabrielle. He's going to choose it now though for year 9. So I think we'll finish up with Gabrielle because he'll be doing curriculum drama. And I always am very quick to say, oh, no, you don't need to do that. They both of them can run absolutely parallel with each other because we're not really doing, like they're not going to be doing the same thing. They're not going to be working on the same monologue or the same piece of text. They're always going to be getting a lot of experience from the speech board and also then supporting the curriculum. I think they really run beautifully hand in hand to complement each other. So that's my my side of things, and I think Gabrielle will agree with me. But they're also very similar in some ways as well, which I think, Gabrielle, you'll talk about a bit more with the senior drama.
Before I do, could you start putting your questions, please, in the chat room? And Orla is my scribe, and she's going to start writing them down so that we do cover those questions, and there'll be time at the end when we can take questions from you too. Is there anything that you guys would like to say, because you've been through both, about what Candy was saying?
I think it does really help actually, because it's just that extra knowledge that you get, and you can just build on both sides. Whereas if you've only done drama curriculum, yeah, it's definitely the time thing, like having that extra, well, not quite one-on-one, but there's not nearly as many people, so it's yeah, a lot more in depth, I find, with speech and drama.
Anything else from you guys?
And having the experience through Speech New Zealand meant that I could jump into curriculum drama. So this year's actually the first year I've done curriculum drama, and being able to have everything, kind of the foundations built through Speech New Zealand, like that means I can just jump in at level 3, whereas if I hadn't, jumping in at level 3 just wouldn't be a reasonable or, plausible option. But having all of the experience over the last 5-6 years through Speech New Zealand has allowed me to come in and feel like I'm not miles behind, and I can still, experience drama as well.
Yeah, I definitely felt that when I would go to Mr. Thurston's house and we'd learn about, different techniques and stuff. And then when I came to school, and like year 9 and stuff, I was able to apply what I'd been learning, like straight, like to the next day, with Mr. Stevenson. I think that definitely helps all of us grow as well, and like we get more feedback and more knowledge, and yeah.
3 of these students work for me at home in my private studio at home. And one of the things that I know that you do as teachers, when your students come in, you have a conversation with them. And sometimes they say to me, what is the difference between drama, and the bells are still going here, and speech and drama? And I'd say, well, this is the difference. I'm going to ask you, what your week was like, and you're going to converse with me. So this is speech. And so you're going to be ready for the, holistically for the world, the real world. And they often keep putting their hands up, and I'd say, no, don't put your hands up. I want you to learn to come in when it's appropriate. So you're not over talking somebody, so that you are speaking. And I know that Mitch and I have got a student at the moment, haven't we? So every time we say, how are you? How was your weekend? She says, good.
And that's it.
And that's it. So our job is to actually get a little bit more out of her and teach her to actually learn how to extend and to use some small talk. And with exams, we know that as soon as they enter the room, they're being examined. And it's just that ability to converse and to communicate and to speak their feelings and their thoughts. And I suppose the greatest thing we give them is their own voice. And so to give a student a voice, you equip them for the world. I think the differences for me is not so much in the teaching of speech and drama and teaching curricular drama, it's sometimes the way they're assessed. For example, you're going to see a piece that Mia is going to do, which is a Shakespeare piece, which she did for grade 8. She also used the same piece for 2.4, which was a theatre form. And ours was Elizabethan. I do Elizabethan as the theatre form here. And Mia, really the assessment for both the Speech New Zealand and the curricula was different because we were looking more at the features for the curriculum. But for the features for her to get excellence, the features had to have impact and they had to work. So that was the Speech New Zealand side. So she had that. So then she just had to make sure that we gave her a thrust stage. For example, we had people on 3 sides and she was acknowledging the galleries and doing other things and making sure she was connecting with the audience at different times when she could. So that enabled her to do very well. 2.1 and 3.1 in curricular drama is techniques. And so that's exactly the same way we assess in Speech New Zealand. But some of them, like the devise we've just finished, which was 2.5 and 2.2 and 3.2, it was more the intention. It really is not meant to be based on acting, but your intention doesn't come across unless your acting skills are up there. So there's a fine balance there. So the assessment, some of the assessments are slightly different, but the actual way of getting there is the same. And I am so lucky when my students do both Speech New Zealand or speech and drama plus curricula, because they have, I don't have to work too hard over those things. And also, secondly, sometimes I'm not meant to be directing at school in some of their pieces they're preparing, and they have the techniques and the strategies already. So it's certainly an asset. So I think they are probably the main differences. Is there anything I've forgotten?
I don't think so.
So, okay, so next what I've got on my program is we're going to start with these students performing, and then I'm going to question them, and they're going to talk about their intentions and the way they use techniques. I have actually gone through the syllabus and marked where these are set questions in our speech and drama syllabus. But when I was looking to today, I looked at the syllabus and I thought grade 4 is where, discussion really starts, where they start to be a little bit more analytical, which is what we're asking in curriculum drama. And they're just starting to, the discussion skills are starting where they're talking about their book and, their drama a little bit. And it's a lovely process and a pathway. And by grade 5, when they're talking about their poem, they're normally annotating it for poetic techniques, and they're starting to explain why they changed their pitch, pace, and pause, and the elements of modulation. And they're just starting to be more analytical, which is what we're asking for them in senior drama and curricular drama. And when we're asking for an annotated script, we're looking at the breakdown of techniques. For me, and this is not all teachers, I have them do motivations on the left, techniques on the right of their script, so that you can see what's motivating the technique. And so you can just, your eye goes across that way. But they're able to fill that, and they know it. Not only can they talk about it, they can write it down, which is which is needed. Now, in scholarship drama, you're going to see two pieces of device from scholarship drama. They have to put in an annotated script for both their pieces. So we haven't had a chance to look at that today, but we're going to start with Orla, and Orla is going to do Emily from our town, and this is what she is doing for her scholarship set text. You did it last year for grade 8, didn't you, this piece? You may have changed or...
I did this piece for my scholarship program last year, but it was part of my curriculum drama as a year 13 because our town was our play, our production, so that came into one of our internals.
Yes. So I believe in working smarter, not harder. So if my students with speech and drama are doing a piece, I get them to choose. The more you process a piece, the more you work it, obviously they're going to be better at it. And the more feedback they get from the piece, it's going to help them. And so, it makes sense. These students here are so busy, and I don't know how many scholarships are you doing, Adam?
6. Yeah.
And Orla?
I'm doing 6 as well.
So you can see how busy they are. So if I can save them work and reuse things, I'm going to. And these guys are hard workers. So we'll move out of the way, and we'll start with Orla, and then we'll come back. And please start filling in, asking questions. We'll
Your chair. Hey, we just need to practice.
You can talk, you can do whatever you like.
I can't bear it. They're all so young and beautiful. Why did they ever have to grow old? Mama, I'm here, and I'm all grown up, and I love you. All and everything. I can't seem to look at everything hard enough. Oh, Mama, would you just look at me a minute, like you actually saw me? 14 years have gone by, Mama. I'm dead. You're a grandmother, Mama. And I'm married. George did. Wally's dead too. His appendix burst on that camping trip up to North Conway. We felt just terrible about it. Don't you remember? But just for a moment, we're all here together, and just for a moment, we're all happy. Please, just look at me. I can't go on. It goes so fast, and no one has time to just look at one another. I didn't realize that was all we had going on. We didn't even notice it. I want to go back up on the hill to my grave. But first, one more look. Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corners. Mama and Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking. And Mama's sunflowers. To food and coffee. To hot bags. And freshly ironed dresses. Oh, world, you are much too beautiful for anyone to realize you. Do human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute.
Now, I know that she'll be aware of that piece. It's a very famous piece. But, Paula, I'm looking at the moment, at grade 8, module 2, with the contrasting characters. And it says to be prepared to discuss techniques used to highlight the intention of each performance to bring out layers of meaning. So, but what I'd like to ask you first is, what was your intention for that piece?
I think my intention for that piece really comes back to the overall purpose of the play, which is our town, and because it's so Brechtian, this moment in the play is so it's the pinnacle of articulating what Wilder wanted us to understand in the play. And so it's so special when she gives that monologue about what the meaning of life is, because it's about, sometimes we don't appreciate the small, seemingly ordinary things that make our life special. And I just love that moment in the piece where you can break the fourth wall and connect with your audience, because it's so emotional that you can look at them. And I think, you feel that people are feeling the same thing as the character is, because most of the time we don't think about how special it is to talk to your mother, and it's too late. And so it's so important, this message, that while we're in it, while we have it, we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Could you tell me anything about the techniques you use, which highlighted the message?
I think there's a lot of techniques buried in this piece. And I think one of the major techniques that we have is her movement of space, and how she is connecting with the character of her mother, because as she gets more emotional in the piece, she moves closer to her mother, because it's this building of emotion that she just wants her mother to just look at her. So she moves closer to the character to find that emotional intensity, and it her volume gets stronger and her voice sometimes gets a lot faster, because she's not quite in control of her emotion anymore, because she just wants to be there and to have her mother connect with her. And because they're separated by time, she's not getting the mother's reaction to what she's saying, and that's it's so upsetting.
And there was a moment there that you were desperately trying to get your mother's emotion. So how did you do that? What techniques did you use there?
What I used there was, I think it's all in your in your face, and how you need the audience to see that you're seeing the mother. like through your own eyes. So if you are just like looking out into the distance, no one's going to emotionally connect with what you're doing, because I really need to see the mother in the scene for my audience, to see that she's there. So there's a huge emphasis on the fact that you need to like have this huge focus through like yourself and the like space that you've placed the mother in.
And at that point in an exam, I'd probably say thank you, or that's enough. So that was great. So the next piece we're going to look at here is going to present Lady Anne from Richard III, which I know that you all know too. And I've asked her, we're preparing this for school as well, but I've asked her to keep, she needs to, for scholarship, keep the features of Elizabethan theatre in as well, but at the same time, she's not working with a trust stage. So, so that is where we're at. So we'll move to you. Thank you.
Sit down. Take down your honourable load. Whilst I a while secretly lament, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster, be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost to hear the lamentations of poor Anne. Cursed be the hand that made these fatal holes. Cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it. Cursed be the blood that let this blood from him. If ever he had wife, let her be made as miserable as I am with the death of my poor lord and thee. What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop devoted charitable deeds? What? Do you tremble? Are you all afraid? Alas, I blame you not. For you are mortal, and mortal eyes cannot endure thy devil. Avaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell! Thou hast but power over his mortal body. His soul thou canst not have. Therefore, be gone. If thou delight to view thy heinous deeds, behold, this passion of thy butchery. O God, which this blood madest, revenge his death. O earth, which this blood drinkest, revenge his death. Either heaven with lightning strike the murderer dead. Else earth, gape open wide and eat him quick, as thou dost swallow up this good king's blood, which his hell-governed arm had butchered. Gentle, mild and virtuous, peace in heaven, where thou shalt never come. I would I were to be revenged on thee. Tis better doth not breathe upon this earth. Out of my sight, thou dost infect my eyes.
Thanks, Mia. That was great. Now, I'm looking at ASC Performance Module 2 in the syllabus, and it says, be prepared to discuss aspects of your characterization. And in the learning criteria, it says social historical context and features of Elizabethan theatre. Now, the features are exactly what you had to use for your 2.4 with your curricular drama, and I'll let Mia talk about the features that she's used. But the one thing you would have noticed was that she was pointing to what?
Those were the two main doors in the globe, the exits and entrances. They only have the two, which is why I used both of them to really highlight that aspect of the globe, which was a big part of Elizabethan theatre, since that was, you know, the way that they performed. So that was a really important aspect to highlight the performance space, because as well as the thrust stage, which I can't quite do with this setup, it helped to have that to tie back into the original performance space and add to those Elizabethan techniques.
Are there any other features that you'd like to talk about?
Yes, there are other Elizabethan features that were important to portray this piece correctly, in particular with the big gestures, which were always used in those Elizabethan plays, really adding the drama and the tension to those scenes and making them, you know, bigger than life, like really sucking the audience in with these big moments, with these massive gestures. I use these now as, you know, calling the curses down from heaven or drawing them up from the earth, which was important to, you know, tie into that Elizabethan technique.
And the role that you played, is there anything you'd like to say about Lady Anne?
It was important for me to really show the intention of the character through that. She's in agonizing pain. She's just lost her husband and her father-in-law to this murderer that now dares to show his face at their funeral. So she's just really going through this intense mourning, and just I really wanted to highlight that through the techniques to make the most of this role and highlight what this character is going through.
Good, thank you. Right, thanks, Leah. Right, now we're going to move on to Adam. Now, what you're going to see from Adam is the beginning, well, his devices that he's doing for scholarship, which he has just done for curricular drama, which is good, because scholarship, there's three parts to it in scholarship drama. You've got your set text, which you saw Paula do, and then you move on to your device piece, which is approximately 4 minutes long, and then you do your impromptu. Both the impromptu and the device, they sort of look for two characters because they're looking for techniques. Now, I'm looking for techniques now, but I was looking in the last week at school when they were doing the curricular drama for intention. So that is the main difference. But it's set up nicely so you can use the program for curricular drama so that you can use your device piece for scholarship. So, which is what we've done, of course. So Adam's going to start, and I'm not going to say anything about his piece. And then afterwards, we'll talk about his intentions.
Johannesburg, South Africa, 1965, apartheid.
All right, Dave, welcome to the Biltong Buffet. Thank you for choosing to dine with us on our 5th anniversary here tonight. Did you have a name for your reservation? Thanks for that, Paula. Now, it says here that your reservation was for 4, but I can only see 3 of you. I think there's been a bit of a mix-up. We cannot serve people of color here. I thought it was quite clear that the signs on the door and outside that we cannot serve a person of color. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, Paula, or I will have to call the police.
Johannesburg, South Africa, 2005, post-apartheid.
And if you'd like to follow me, I can take you to your table for this evening. Now, thank you for choosing to dine with us on our 45th anniversary. Now, our specials this evening, we do have steak over the meat section of the buffet and perfect milk tarts for you guys this evening. Now, could I get you off any drinks to start with? Brilliant. Won't be a moment on those ones. Recommendations. Well, you see, we do have extra special biltong tonight, given it is our anniversary weekend. Ostrich biltong. You just find that over just to the left of the meat section. Now, you guys do make yourself feel comfortable, and as soon as you're ready, just come up and start helping yourself. Yes? Just a moment. I'll go get the server for your kind of people. How dare you not serve me? Regardless of the fact I'm a colored person. If I were white, you would have served me right away. You appall me. There are laws against this now. Oh, the whole anniversary of the restaurant. I don't care. Regardless of the fact that we are not your table you are serving tonight. It is a matter of basic customer service. You should be able to help us. Not walk away from us and refuse to serve us. It is 2005. The fighting my people had to do to abolish this, and still you have the audacity to treat us like that. You disgust me. Just like this food. We will not be returning here again. I will not let my family be treated like this, and I will not let it continue in my hometown. Me, pay. Why should I pay when you have treated us like this? Go on, call the police, like you are in the right. Come on, family, we are leaving.
Okay, now, Adam is not South African, but that was a very good accent. Now, I'm looking at the moment at grade 8, module 3, literature, which you can give a talk about the drama theorist, and then you can do a devised piece. So it does ask what's your intention. You have to give a statement of intention for this, which you don't for scholarship, but you have to talk about it. So I'd love to know why you decided to do that piece, and to devise it, and what was your intention?
So overall, my intention with that piece was to kind of highlight how the actions of the past and what is considered a societal norm in the apartheid with the racism that occurred is something that can carry on through future generations. So even though the apartheid had ended in the late 90s, still I was showing through my piece that racism is still a big part of society and how it still affects people on a day-to-day basis. So the behaviours of what people were doing during the apartheid kind of were passed through the generations, and is why we can still see that societal divide and racism in society today.
And who was your theorist?
So for this piece, I used the theorist Brecht. Evidently, as the apartheid is quite a political issue in our world, and Brecht is linked with lots of political issues. And I also found that breaking the fourth wall allowed me to use the element of time to show where I was in the piece, and allow the audience to understand that I was showing two sides of during the apartheid and post-apartheid.
And you chose two different roles. Just tell me a little bit about the roles that you chose.
So the first role was taken as a white waiter working in the restaurant, and I wanted to show that they were kind of the superiority race at the time, and how that they thought that because they were white, that they would only serve white, and that's how it was in the apartheid. And taking on the second role as a coloured man to show the contrast and how they would have felt to be discriminated against and not treated fairly just because of the colour of their skin.
I think your message was really important. Why today? Why did you do that? Why did you want to do that?
I did take kind of stimulus and influence from lots of the happenings in the world today in 2020 with things like the Black Lives Matter protest. It's still a massive thing, not only overseas, but here in New Zealand as well. We see that the racial divide between races, like the African Americans and the whites in America, and the Māori and the Pākehā in New Zealand, we still see such a massive class divide that I wanted to show that we need to work towards a better society of unity where less discrimination occurs and we're all more socially equal.
And we saw that. So thank you. Right, thank you. Now, last but certainly not least, we're now going to have Mitchell. And I'm not going to say anything about his devised piece that he's doing, but again, we'll talk about it afterwards.
Susan, hi, come on up. Oh, did you sign in? Yeah, well, I didn't see you sign in. So can you please sign in or just scan your phone? Great. Well, now that we're clean, come on over. How have you been, Susan? It's been a while because of lockdown. Yeah. Oh, no touching. Yeah, COVID. Don't touch me. Yeah. Awesome. Take a seat, please. Right, so don't worry. We are completely COVID-free here at the salon. If you're clean, then I don't have to be mean. That's our motto here. Right, yep. So what are we doing today? Yes, it is looking a little bit dry, so I will put a conditioner through it before we dye it, because hair health is very important to maintain. Obviously, something you've not been doing, Susan, so we're going to keep on top of that. So I will put a conditioner through it. Just give me 2 seconds. Oh, Susan, you can't touch the magazines. No, don't touch them. They're actually there for display only, so please don't touch them. Yeah, thank you. Right, so What's up, Susan? What's been going on? How's everything going? How's the hubby? He cheated. God, that didn't last long, did it? With the nanny. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. That's absolutely insane. Oh my God, all the stress. No wonder you're going great, Josh. Oh, excuse me for a second. And Stacey, yeah. Cough into your elbow, please. Have you not been listening to Jacinda? Into the elbow, otherwise I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Honestly. Right, so I'm just going to leave that there for a few seconds. So just sit tight, Susan. Yep, sorry, don't mind me, Susan. Just go spray and white. Yep, cool. Do you just mind moving your purse? Yep, thank you. Awesome. Cool. Awesome, Susan. Right, so I'll take you over to the basin and I'll just wash it out for you. Cool. Yep, just take it. Cool.
But the same sort of question back to grade 8 with the divine support, and I'm sure everyone can't wait to hear what your intention was for that.
Right, so my intention was to kind of show the misunderstanding of how the virus spreads, so COVID-19. My historical stimulus was actually the Black Plague, but I also choose to use a bit of COVID, especially what we're all living with in society. So I just kind of want to show that how we don't understand how quickly the virus can kind of spread among our community, and very similar to how the Black Plague did hundreds of years ago. So yeah.
And tell me about your theorist.
So my theorist was Anton Artaud. So I decided to kind of use his methods, especially towards the end of my scene, to kind of use unusual movements and groaning noises and really just weird movements to kind of, again, symbolize the virus spreading and stuff.
So you became
so I became the virus. Yeah. So I wanted to use Artaud just to kind of show the spreading and just the groaning, just really uncomfortable for the audience. So yeah.
Right. Good. Thank you. Well, your intention was clear, and we saw you become the virus at the basin, I think, and you were using symbolism from what we see on TV. And any techniques there that you want to talk about?
So obviously the technique of mime is very important. So miming all the products of the salon and washing the hair and all that. I also use sign language. So this movement here, which when I started to become the virus, this actually symbolizes COVID-19 in the deaf community. So this is the official sign language for it. So when I kind of started to become the virus, I started to kind of morph into that to show, again, the symbolism of coronavirus. So yeah.
Good, thank you. Well, I think that's probably enough about intentions. Now, Orla, if we come back here, we may be able to answer some questions briefly from anybody. Orla, have you got any questions? You're my scribe. Are there any questions there for us?
There's no questions in the chat right now, but if anyone has any questions that they want to ask anyone, just put them.
Unmute your mic.
Unmute yourself.
And you can speak.
Yeah.
And say whatever you like. Your turn.
Or you can put it in the chat and I can read it out if that's easier, either one.
Could I just ask Gabriel, why do you think there is this misconception from drama teachers, curriculum drama, about speech and drama, that they think that we're different, that what we teach is somehow inferior, a different sort? I've heard it said that in curriculum drama you move when you act, you know?
I would have thought the opposite, that that curriculum drama is inferior just because of the sheer numbers and the fact we don't give you can't give that one-on-one, and sometimes we're not meant to direct. I mean, obviously we're doing a production, we're directing, but sometimes I give, and for devise, we're not meant to touch it. We give formative assessments and peer assessments, and that is a way of actually giving feedback, good feedback, but generally it's hands-off for directing. So as soon as you've got a student in for privately to speech and drama, you can do the blocking and give them some extra advice. So I would have felt that it was...
I think they somehow maybe think that we are, maybe it comes from the Trinity syllabus, speaking text rather than acting.
I would have said the difference. I've got time privately to process more than I have. I mean, I give the strategies when I'm teaching in a big class and we go through the process, but I'm hands-on privately with processing, and also with my questioning, I'm making the students think and process themselves and feel. And I mean, basically, I think most speech and drama teachers are leaning to method acting anyway. So my students, that's what they grow up with, basically. And it's wonderful when we get to do other theorists, of course, as they go through curriculum and we get further up with, and they get into the high grades. To look at other theorists and use the other theorists' work is such a treat. But basically, from a young age, we're teaching pretty much a version of method acting.
I don't know why it is that the drama teachers just don't seem to be aware that we've moved on from the 50s.
Have you got anything to say about that?
No, well, as a drama curriculum teacher at the moment, I know I've got the background with Speech Board New Zealand, but I couldn't imagine thinking that students getting that extra support outside of my classes would be anything but amazing. I think it would be a little bit backwards thinking to think that if students are actually practicing your subject outside of your classes, that's going to do nothing but nourish their minds. And even if they're dealing with poetry and they're just standing up delivering poetry, they're still using all the skills that I'm trying to get them to grow and use in my classes as well. It's the projection, it's the understanding of the text. There's so much of students that actually, when they come to me in curriculum drama, they think that they are just learning words and saying them. Whereas I work with them so much that actually, if you're not internalizing and if you don't understand what you're saying, then the audience is not possibly going to understand it. So, I mean, I teach level 1 drama as well. So with my senior students coming into level 1, there is quite a big step up from year 10 to level 1 drama. And I just think that if they're doing that extra practice and learning how to pull apart a piece of poetry, then when it comes to annotating scripts for me, it's so much easier for them. So I can't imagine that any drama curriculum teacher would think that it's inferior. That would blow my mind to think like that.
But thank you, Helen. Is there anything else that you'd like to ask?
I think Glenda's put something in the chat.
Yeah, there's a question from Glenda asking you to clarify the elements and techniques.
Oh, okay. Well, all the elements and techniques are actually in the back of the syllabus, which is wonderful. And the elements are basically focus, action, role, time, tension, symbol, atmosphere. And the techniques are
Voice, body movement, space.
and the conventions are
Conventions, flashback, flash forward, freeze frame, breaking the fourth wall, yeah.
Slow motion.
Slow motion,
Extra
fast forward,
freeze frame, slow
canon,
motion.
yeah. Foreshadowing.
Does that answer it, Clinton? Unmute.
Yeah, I'm muting. Yeah, it kind of does. I was just trying to clarify that because, yeah, I got a lot of associate level type students this year, and I'm really wanting to make sure that their reflection is very sound. And so I was trying to listen to the vocabulary in particular that you were using to ask those questions. And sometimes what was happening was I was getting the vocabulary, not showing where it actually belonged. So that's what I was trying to clarify. Yeah, because I've been writing up a document to kind of clarify it.
Well,
Yeah,
even to my young students, I sort of say, if you're going to devise a scene or improvise, you do need the elements. You do need, every improvisation needs focus, action, tension, role, and all of those things. So we need the elements. Describing the techniques, of course, is what we start to do in grade 5 with modulation. And that's a really good intro for students, I think, to start analysing what techniques they're using. And just particularly, not more than saying something like, I went fast in this particular piece, or faster in this particular piece, getting them to say, well, why? And did that work for you? Why did you do that? And did that have the outcome you wanted? So asking them questions around it, I think, is really, really important. So they start analysing themselves. And I think that's the sort of thinking you want as they go on, particularly in curriculum drama with theory papers for the externals. You want them to actually say it out loud so they can actually think, this is what I've actually got to write about. I can't just say that I went fast here, or my pace was quite quick. This is the techniques they used was a faster pace, or in a particular phrase. Thinking about the meaning, why, how, and what was the motivation for that? And we've been talking today about tension, because that's a question that comes up quite a lot in improvisation. They say, can you please talk about the tension you used in that improvisation? And we were talking about, and immediately these guys said, well, we went louder, and those sorts of things. And so to reminding your students that actually tension happens with all techniques, and silence actually is often the way to create tension, and it's a lot more effective. So getting them to think about it and trying it and using it, and then thinking, well, what did I actually do physically to create that tension? Was I absolutely, was it stillness, or was there erratic movement? Just trying to get them to experiment with those techniques, I think, is important. And then, of course, the conventions with theorists, of course, and you can see with Shakespeare, Glenda, having been to the Globe, and Mitchell just coming back from the week, the ad-libbing that goes on. He was talking about the ad-libbing from the stage they would have done during Shakespeare, but also that the way they connected, and they had to keep connecting with the audience, and was really imperative. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, yep. Yeah, what I was struggling was that I'd begun by looking at intentions, elements, reflections, and techniques. And then what I had left out is conventions. So, and is it worthwhile also, for exam purposes, to be talking about rehearsal conventions?
I teach conventions by looking at pre-performance conventions and performance conventions. I divide them. And when they're writing about them, I get them to really say that. I think it's really important because you've got all those pre-performance, your hot sitting and all those things, that classic type things, or anything you want to do pre-performance, whether you're into beats and units or whatever you're following, whatever process you're doing, is all pre-performance. So if you get them to, they need to compartmentalize them, I think. And then performance conventions. Okay, I went into slow mode during the fight scene or whatever you did, or I exited through the audience or whatever. Try to, get them to think about pre-performance and performance.
Okay, cool, thank you.
There's a question from Lee Watkins, and she asks, is there any relationship between Speech New Zealand and secondary drama teachers to improve the understanding about the role of each?
I don't know how to answer that. Is there, I don't know. Is that the role of SCA, Glenda?
I don't believe it is. I think because I don't think that you get the opportunity to necessarily, it's lucky, like you, I've been in both camps. We're still trying to get rid of the word elocution, which died in 1953. So just people need to spread the word, I think.
Could I just add there that Speech New Zealand have recently become partners with Drama New Zealand, which is the one that the secondary teachers belong to. We were going to be at their conference in April in Palmerston North, but of course that got canned. So I think we are moving to have a relationship there.
And of course SCA is also a member of Drama New Zealand as an allied organisation, as indeed we are with Theatre New Zealand. So I think we're trying really hard to make sure that people realise we're like-minded, that we're all after the same thing really, which is to have, confident, expressive and artistic people. I don't think we should definitely be in alignment, not necessarily in competition. And I think that if you work within a school, I think that actually is true. I know I have really good relationship. I work in 3 different schools at present, and I'm very welcomed within that environment. So I don't think maybe it's just the fact that we just need to have the same languages. Yeah, I think it's, yeah.
Well, I think that the language with the syllabus, with the 2019 Speech New Zealand syllabus is the language of curricular drama. So I think it is universal. So
I appreciate that.
We're on the right track. Is there one more question, Orla?
So the last question on the chat is, I'm hearing that intention is more to do with the overall play, like theme, while motivation is more to do with the character in the moment of a scene. Is that so?
No, not necessarily, no. You have intentions for everything, for everything. This is why sometimes you put your overall play into units. There is an intention. There is an intention for everything you're going to do. And I think it's for you, sometimes I think it's a real personal thing too. And it's hard, you can't judge somebody's intention. If Mitchell told me his intention was to show the spread. And as long as I saw that, his intention was fine. And I did see it. Where students were marked down recently, because Candy and I just finished a whole pile of marking, with the curriculum drama intention, was because we didn't see that intention in their actual drama that they thought they had achieved. They said this is what my intention was, but we didn't actually see it. So, and that was in a short piece. So I think, could you say that with me?
Yeah, I think also if students are talking about, because they have to do a statement of intention for curriculum drama, as well as often an annotated script. And my year 11s get confused as well, because they think when they've done an annotated script and they've written those motivations down one side, they go, why, I'm writing the same thing, Miss. And I say, well, that's where you're getting yourself confused. This is your intention, and I think that's where you might be thinking the intention is the overall play. Yes, it is, but I think they also need to go in depth into what their intention was for their individual character. And then the motivations which they're talking about in their annotated script is very much pulling out, for this particular line, my motivation for saying it this way, and that's when they're talking about their techniques and their voice body movement space. So I can see where that question does come up, because my year 11, while they're just getting into that practice of doing the statement of intention and the annotated script, there is sort of a little blurred line there where they're trying to get it set in their mind as well as to what am I supposed to be telling you in my statement of intention that I haven't just told you in my annotated script. So hopefully that makes it a little bit clearer for you. But it is still their intention, but it shouldn't just be the overall play. They really do need to specify what their intention was for their individual character.
Okay, I think we're probably going to close now. And thank you for coming, and a special thank you to these guys and Orla, who've given up their holidays for me, and I think have been absolutely gorgeous. So thank you, guys. That will turn up. Thank you.
So